Good morning, everyone. The Thursday, May 28th meeting of the Milwaukee County Board of Supervisors will now come to order. The meeting is live streaming in CLIC, our County Legislative Information Center, and that link is included on today's agenda. We will start with our housekeeping rules with our first Vice Chair Shea.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Housekeeping rules for those attending virtually. Use video at all times to ensure quorum. Keep microphones muted and only unmute when addressing the board. Use the hand-raising function when you wish to be recognized. Keep this function active until you've been called upon. Avoid using the chat function. Make sure you're visible on screen in a bright location. If you lose connection, close your Teams window and restart Teams from the calendar invite. For those attending in person, please raise your hand when you'd like to be recognized. Make sure to keep your microphone turned off until you are called upon to speak. Please turn your microphone off once you are done speaking. Please turn your microphone on when you are voting to ensure that members attending virtually and the public can hear you. Should you choose to have the Teams meeting open on your device, make sure to mute your microphones and turn your speakers all the way down. And for all supervisors, please maintain a sense of decorum during the floor debate on all items throughout today's meeting. Under our rules, supervisors should ask the chair for permission to exit the meeting under a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, First Vice Chair Shea. The first order of business is the call of the roll. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Supervisor Alexander.
Present.
Belinsky.
Here.
Capriolo.
Here, but my microphone isn't working.
I hear you. Cox Jones.
Here.
Ekblad.
Present.
Gomez Tom.
Presente.
Johnson Jr.
Here.
Logsden.
Present.
Martin.
Present.
Martinez.
Presente.
O'Connor.
Present.
Rolland.
Here we go.
Roundtree Jr.
Present.
Shea.
Here.
Taylor.
Here.
Vincent.
Present.
Wasserman. Here. Madam Chairwoman.
Presente. 18 members present. We have a quorum. I invite the members and our guests to please rise and join us with our second Vice Chair, Cox Jones, in the Pledge of Allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Chairwoman, the next order of business is presentations by supervisors.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. I invite Supervisor Vincent to the stand, who will present to us a bit about Mental Health Awareness Month.
Good morning. No, good afternoon, actually. Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you, Madam Chairwoman, for this opportunity to speak before this body today. I want to begin as we recognize Mental Health Awareness Month this May. I want to take a moment to speak about something that impacts every family, every workplace, and every community, mental health. Several of you received a green pin from me today. The color green represents mental health awareness, hope, strength, and support for those facing mental health challenges. Thank you to everyone wearing one of these pins today in recognition of Mental Health Awareness Month and in support of reducing stigma around mental health. For far too long, mental health struggles have been treated as something people needed to hide. Many people suffer in silence out of fear of judgment or being seen differently. But the truth is that mental health challenges affect people from every walk of life, regardless of age, profession, or background. Many people who appear strong, successful, busy, or engaged may still be carrying burdens that others cannot see. I am passionate about this cause as it is very personal to me, and as many of you know, I have faced my own mental health struggles that I continue to work on to this day. That experience has taught me the importance of compassion, support, and creating spaces where people feel safe asking for help. Mental health awareness matters because it reminds people that they are not alone. It creates space for conversations that can save lives, and it helps reduce stigma that prevents so many individuals and families from reaching out for support. As County Board Supervisors, we have a responsibility to support the well-being of the people that we serve by continuing to advocate for access to mental health care, crisis services, substance use treatment, housing support, and early intervention programs that help people before they reach a breaking point. There is strength in vulnerability. There is courage in asking for help. And there is hope, even on the hardest days. Today, in recognition of Mental Health Awareness Month, I would like to recognize former Behavioral Health Division Chief Executive Officer Mike Lapham for his outstanding leadership and service to Milwaukee County over the past 10 years. And I'd like to call you up, please. During his tenure, Mike led a diverse team, managed a behavioral health system serving thousands of residents each year, and helped oversee the transformation of Milwaukee County's continuum of care by moving away from institutional care toward a more community-based system focused on prevention, early intervention, recovery, and client choice. Mike is widely respected for his professionalism, compassion, collaborative spirit, and unwavering commitment to improving the lives of individuals, children, and families that are facing mental health challenges throughout our community. Mike's work has had a lasting impact not only on Milwaukee County's behavioral health system, but on the countless people and families who have benefited from greater access to support, care, and recovery-based services because of his leadership. Mike's dedication to public service and to improving the lives of others will truly be missed, and I want to sincerely thank him for all that he has done for Milwaukee County and the people we serve. Please join me in recognizing and thanking Mike Lapham for his years of service and meaningful contributions to behavioral health care in Milwaukee County. Thank you. And then do we want to do a full board picture right away?
I want to stand. I'll stand with you anytime.
So anybody wants it? Is that
We
okay?
should probably do it
We'll
here.
go in the front. Yeah. Okay. Go right in the middle.
Thank you.
All right.
Madam Chairwoman, the next order of business is presentation of petitions and communications.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. We are on presentation of petitions and communications on page 2 of the digest. There's one item, file number 26-1. First Vice Chair Shea moves that this be received and placed on file. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say no. The listing of summons and complaints is received and placed on file.
Madam Chairwoman, the next order of business is notice of claims.
Also on page 2 of the digest, there's one item, file number 26-2. First Vice Chair Shea asks unanimous consent to suspend any rules interfering with. Hearing no objection, First Vice Chair Shea moves disallowance. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed
Aye.
say no. The Thursday, May 28th listing of notice of claims is disallowed.
Madam Chairwoman, the next order of business is files referred to standing committees.
We are now on files referred to standing committees on page 3 of the digest. File number 26-3. First Vice Chair Shea moves that this be received and placed on file. All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed say no. The listing of files referred to standing committees is received and placed on file.
Madam Chairwoman, the next order of business is correction and approval of the Journal of Proceedings from Monday, April 20th, 2026.
Which is located on page 3 of the digest. File number 26-4. First Vice Chair Shea moves that this be adopted. All those in favor of adopting say aye. Those
Aye.
opposed say no.
Aye.
The Journal of Proceedings is adopted.
Madam Chairwoman, the next order of business is reports of county officers, beginning with confirmation of appointments.
Okay, we are on confirmation of appointments, also on page 4. There are 3 items, 5, 6, and 7. Are there any requests for separate action? Items 5, 6, and 7. Seeing none. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Question is confirmation of appointments. Supervisor Alexander.
Aye.
Belinsky.
Aye.
Capriolo.
Aye.
Cox Jones.
Aye.
Ekblad. Ekblad.
Aye.
Gomez Tom.
Aye.
Johnson Jr.
Aye.
Logsdon.
Aye.
Martin. Martinez.
Aye.
O'Connor.
Aye.
Rolland.
Aye.
Roundtree Jr. Shea.
Aye.
Taylor.
Aye.
Vincent.
Aye.
Wasserman. Roundtree Jr.
Aye.
Thank you. Madam Chairwoman.
Aye. 18 ayes, 0 noes. The confirmations are approved. Mr. Clerk?
Madam Chairwoman, the next order of business is resolutions and ordinances by and from standing committees, beginning with the Committee on Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Supervisor Gomez-Tom?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to ask for unanimous consent to take up the Committee on Intergovernmental Relations out of order.
Thank you. Supervisor Gomez-Toms moves to pull the IGR report to the top of the agenda. Hearing no objection. Yep, we'll take the whole committee. Yep. Hearing no objection. Mr. Clerk?
Madam Chairwoman, the next order of business is the Committee on Intergovernmental Relations on page 36.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. So we are on the report of the Committee on Intergovernmental Relations, beginning on page 36 of the digest. There are 9 items. It's items 55 through 63. Supervisor Gomez-Tom asked unanimous consent to suspend the rules to consider items 55 and 56. Any objection? Seeing none, rules are suspended. Are there any requests for separate action? Items 55 through 63.
63.
Item 63 has been called out for separate action. Supervisor Gomez-Tom?
59.
59 has been called out for separate action.
Madam Chairwoman, I'll ask that you give us another minute since I jumped to the end of the agenda. I'm just making sure that I have no call outs. Thank you.
Of course, yes, absolutely. Supervisor Rowland?
Thank you. Can I do 58?
Sorry?
58?
58?
Yep.
Supervisor Martin? 60?
Madam Chairwoman,
Supervisor Alexander?
62.
All right, we got 58. Okay.
Madam
Supervisor Logsdon? Okay, we have 59. So pulled out, we have items 58, 59, 60, 62, 63. Any other requests for separate action?
Madam Chair, 61, please.
61. All right, so items 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, and 63 have been pulled out for separate action. Any other requests? Supervisor Martin? Okay. We got Supervisor Ekblad, okay. Any other requests? We have 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, and 63. Nearly. All right, seeing no other, yes? Okay. Okay, items 58 through 63 have been called for separate action. Any other requests? Okay, going once, going twice. Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll on the balance.
The question is adoption of the balance of the committee report. Supervisor Alexander?
Aye.
Belinsky?
Aye.
Capriolo?
Aye.
Cox-Jones?
Aye.
Ekblad?
Aye.
Gomez-Tom?
Aye.
Johnson Jr.?
Aye.
Logsdon?
Aye.
Martin? Martinez? O'Connor?
Aye.
Rolland?
Aye.
Roundtree Jr.?
Aye.
Shea?
Aye.
Taylor?
Aye.
Vincent?
Aye.
Wasserman? Madam Chairwoman?
Aye.
18 ayes, 0 noes.
18 ayes, 0 noes, the balance is adopted. Mr. Clerk, please read into the record our first item put for separate action, item 58.
Item 58, file number 26-453, a resolution establishing Milwaukee City County Joint Task Force to address the food access crisis in Milwaukee County. This item was recommended for adoption at committee.
Supervisor Rowland.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And thank you for introducing this item. As a co-sponsor, I hope we move this resolution forward. The number of grocery store closures in our area is a serious issue, and I do hope, and I think it's important that we act. You know, sometimes I have some nuance, so I do have some concerns about the scope of the task force. As written, it focuses primarily on developing new community-led grocery models, and that approach has merit. But it doesn't bring any of the existing grocer operators to the table. It doesn't allow us to consider any ways to keep the grocery store chains that we already have here. And just to me, if we are addressing a food access crisis, then to me, it makes sense to have an all-of-the-above approach and bring the full range of stakeholders to the table, including grocers who want to stay and grow in Milwaukee. Some chains may not be returned. I think that's 100% true. I think there are some chains that are left and are never coming back. But I know of at least one national grocer that is interested in staying and potentially growing here. And to me, that suggests there may be opportunities for partnership and other opportunities that are worth exploring. So by inviting everyone to the table, I just think we could compare and contrast the different approaches. We could see what supporting existing grocers does versus developing new models, put it all on the table and evaluate those pros and cons. Is one more sustainable? Is one more affordable? We won't know if we don't ask the question. So I support this. I do think that we should evaluate, is there a new model that could work? I think that makes all the sense in the world. But just separately, I plan to engage directly with some grocers, and I know some other supervisors are interested in joining that conversation too, to understand if there are things we could do to help them stay and grow here. And I would welcome any colleagues who want to join in those conversations. Just let me know, and I'll make sure you're involved. Thank you.
Any other? Supervisor Wasserman?
I wasn't going to comment on this, but interesting, as a physician, I'm always reading my medical journals, but an article just came out today from the Journal of the American Heart Association that said, for people who live in areas where there's where there's a food desert, you increase your risk of cardiovascular disease by 21%. So what that means is just the perception of that raises your risk of stroke and heart attack, which contributes to mortality. So this is a very significant issue. It's not only getting the food, but the perception that you don't have food or you don't have the ability to get your food, supply your family. The risk factor, the inherent stress that's caused by it will increase your risk of dying from strokes and heart attacks by 21%. So it's just not just food, but we're talking about lifetime effects and potentially dying from this. And we look at our communities, there's a real suffering that's taken place and has now been proven in this article, especially if it's published in the Journal of the American Heart Association. You're talking about a real hardcore, impressive study. So these are proven facts. We have to do something for our communities.
Supervisor O'Connor?
Thank you, Chairwoman, and thank you for bringing this forward. And I really appreciated the discussions we've had in committee and on the floor, that this is also, we've gone a little bit beyond even the definition that has often been used of food desert to food apartheid, which really indicates that it is a result of longstanding policies, and not just our past, but also our present. So I think we have to really embrace this re-examining of how we can better care for our communities. And I'd also like to acknowledge the really important role of the community in directing where we go on this. There has been an amazing assemblage of community members who are passionate and are willing to dedicate a lot of time and their resources towards it, and it really helps to have them inform anything that we do here at the county board. So I want to give a big shout out to the community as well, and especially the leadership of Metcalf Park Community Bridges, who has been showing up regularly in this space. Thank you.
Any other requests to speak on this item? All right, seeing, I did see a hand, it went away really quickly. Supervisor Alexander?
Thank you. I'm going to support this, but I wanted to give a brief comment because I think it would be very easy for someone perhaps just taking a cursory glance at this or hearing about it in the news to think that us supporting this means that Milwaukee County is trying to open its own grocery stores or something like that. And I just wanted to be clear that I think that, some of the causes or reasons that we are in the situation we're in seem somewhat evident at face value. I mean, there's a reason that some neighborhoods may have things locked up and, you can't get to the deodorant or the baby food or whatnot, and other neighborhoods don't. And for right or wrong, it means that a lot of our neighborhoods are going downhill, whether it's that people don't want to live there, people are having financial troubles, whether the grocery stores are able to be profitable, whether they are even run by a for-profit company. These are all things to be examined. So I think it's very valuable for the different experts and interests, as well as elected officials that represent such areas, to come together and brainstorm and see what can we do as a community to make it much easier and better for us to have access to grocery stores and food and fresh produce and so forth all across the county. It may not be something that was in the design of what county government would normally be doing, but it's obviously something that's very important for the entire community, because if we keep going down the track that we're on, people will have to have cars and will have to take a 15 or 20-minute drive away in order to just get to a basic full-service grocery store. So happy to support this. Just wanted to add that clarity in there for the record. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor. Any other discussion on the item? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
The question is adoption. Supervisor Alexander?
Aye.
Valinsky?
Aye.
Capriolo?
Aye.
Cox Jones?
Aye.
Ekblad?
Aye.
Gomez Tom?
Aye.
Johnson Jr.?
Aye.
Logsdon?
Aye.
Martin? Martinez? O'Connor?
Aye.
Rolland?
Aye.
Roundtree Jr.?
Aye.
Shea?
Aye.
Taylor?
Aye.
Vincent?
Aye.
Wasserman? Madam Chairwoman?
Aye.
18 ayes, 0 noes.
18 ayes, 0 noes. The item prevails. Mr. Clerk, next order of business.
Item 59, file number 26-447, a resolution condemning the detention of Salah Sassour, demanding his immediate release from federal custody and calling for the protection of his constitutional due process rights. This item was recommended for adoption at committee. Supervisor Capriolo has requested previously to be added as a co-sponsor.
Supervisor Gomez-Tom.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to call this out to specifically request my colleagues to consider passing this unanimously in solidarity with the family and community of Mr. Salah Sarsour, as we are seeing not just his constitutional rights being challenged, but really it's a continuation of all of our constitutional rights being challenged, because what we're seeing in our communities, what we're seeing across the nation are, one, the rights of immigrants being completely disregarded. Thing after thing is happening. We're seeing people being detained, which is obviously the most heinous of these actions, but we're also seeing a continued bombardment of policies that are specifically attacking our immigrant communities. And I hope that as a board, we can stand up against this, because if it's an injustice to one person, it will eventually be an injustice to all of us. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And I did want to request, with permission from the author, to be added as a co-sponsor. Supervisor Martinez. Okay, Supervisor Martinez.
Thank you very much. I wanted to just echo Supervisor Caroline Gomez-Tom's sentiments on being a co-sponsor of this file. Like she's saying, what we're seeing is something that I've never seen in my lifetime, and as elected officials, it is our duty to stand up for what's right and to call things out when we see them. Although it might make people uncomfortable, it doesn't matter, because we have to speak up for fellow humans and be able to stand up against injustice. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor. Supervisor Logsdon.
Thank you, Chairwoman. While I understand everybody's passion on this issue, it is a federal issue. It is not a local issue, so I cannot vote on this issue. I appreciate everybody understanding. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor. Supervisor Alexander, I did see your hand up. Is it back down? Or was that an old hand?
Hand is back down because I wanted to yield to the others and was still deciding on whether to speak. So it may go up again. Thank you, Chairwoman.
Of course. Supervisor Ekblad, followed by Supervisor Belinsky.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I deeply appreciate my colleague, Supervisor Gomez-Tom, bringing this resolution. I appreciate all the co-sponsors for it. And I just want to point out that the context of Mr. Sarsour's detention isn't just about trumped up charges. It is a pattern of intentionally targeting leaders in a specific community for the sake of its psychological impact. And standing up today and hopefully passing this resolution unanimously is a statement from the county board and from the residents of Milwaukee County and their elected representatives that we will stand behind this community, that we will continue to have their backs, and we will not stand silently while they are targeted in such an Islamophobic way. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Supervisor Ekblad. Supervisor Belinsky.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I want to appreciate my colleagues for co-sponsoring this and putting this forward, particularly Supervisor Gomez-Tom. And, you know, it's important that we recognize, as my colleague said, about the context. And that is that, you know, we could call this a federal issue if the federal government were acting in good faith. But I think that we've come to see over the past, you know, year and a half that couldn't be further from the truth. And it is up to us to see when our local communities are being affected by, you know, gross injustice that we speak up. You know, anti-Semitism, you know, Islamophobia. These are two sides of a very ugly coin, and we can't let either one of them thrive.
Supervisor Shea, followed by O'Connor and Martinez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. When Mr. Sarsour was originally detained, the Trump administration said it was because his activities were detrimental to their foreign policy. That's one of the most obvious examples of doublespeak I've ever heard. Habeas corpus is one of the most valued things in the American way of life. Abe Lincoln suspended it during the Civil War reluctantly, and over 160 years later, it's still debated whether or not he did the right thing. We're not in a civil war. Mr. Sarsour has no criminal record of decades of living in this country. He's not a threat to anyone. So I have to support this resolution. And I thank Ms. Gomez-Tom, or Supervisor Gomez-Tom, and all the co-sponsors for co-sponsoring it. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Shea. Supervisor O'Connor.
Thank you, Chairwoman, and I'd also like to thank my colleague Supervisor Gomez-Tom for bringing this forward. We are still guaranteed due process according to the Constitution, and this is a clear violation of due process. We know the name of Salah Sarsour, we know the name of Elvira Benitez, because those families have been willing to share their experiences. But there are other people's names who we will never know, who have been basically abducted, not given due process, relocated to other states where even if they have attorney representation, their attorneys might not be able to practice, and people are being disappeared. That is not the American way, and that is why I chose to be a co-sponsor on this resolution, and I encourage anyone else who is uncertain to please join me in supporting it. Thank you.
I'll go to Supervisor Alexander and then Martinez, since you spoke once already. Okay. Supervisor Alexander.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I think that the immigration issue is close to everybody's heart. If it wasn't close to your heart 5 or 10 years ago, it's close to your heart now because it has to be, because it's become a major issue and concern, whether it's immigration itself or how our government handles it or doesn't handle it, for that matter. It's no secret, and we all know that the ways, processes, and many of the rules that have been used to handle immigration issues, they don't jive. They're messed up. They're inconsistent. Application is frustrating, and we don't always know if everybody is following the rules. The rules aren't always clear. We can say that there's a right way to come into our country, and there is, but I also know that that's a very difficult way. It's not always the easiest. However, I have spoken out in the past as well about some situations when people were being arrested and deported, and I was very concerned and remain concerned. But in these particular circumstances, I spoke out, and I realized months later, after more details came out, that there were reasons for arrest, maybe not deportation immediately, and we do want due process, and people do have certain rights, whether they are a citizen or not. However, I won't be able to join on in supporting this resolution. A few of those reasons, aside from what I've hopefully encapsulated a little, is that if this is an active federal legal case and there's already habeas corpus litigation going on, aren't we inserting ourselves to try to adjudicate almost as a legislative body? I mean, in court cases, there are certain ways to give an opinion or to be like a friend of the court and say, hey, here is our formal opinion on this. And what we're doing here isn't going down that pathway. So I do support constitutional due process. That's totally appropriate, but this resolution wants to demand immediate release. That goes far beyond defending rights, and it substitutes our limited political judgment without seeing or hearing evidence, or defense for that matter, for the legal process that's already happening. I won't say that we shouldn't be involved just because it's a federal issue. There's many federal issues that we do need to involve ourselves in, or opine on, or attempt to help rectify in the name of justice. But I think that there's some highly disputed factual assertions with this case, and it's being treated as if it's established truth, even though there's ongoing litigation. We can absolutely support fairness, civil liberties, humane treatment without formally condemning all the federal actions before the courts have completed their review. And I'm very uncomfortable with us singling out individuals that have been arrested or taken into custody and going down that road of like specific case involvement, not having all of the details, rather than making a generalized statement. If we were in a position of simply evaluating, like, look at the things that are happening, look at how they are happening, look at how they are inconsistent, that I could sign on to. But the way that this is going for a particular individual, a particular case, and I don't think everything that's being asserted as fact has been deemed fact here. There is no way I can support this. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Martinez, followed by Supervisor Rowland.
Thank you very much. I'm going to be really brief because there's a word that hasn't been said throughout all this discourse right now, and I'm going to say it. Palestinian. He was detained for his stance on Palestine. He is a Palestinian immigrant, and he deserves that right as well. Thank you.
Supervisor Rowland.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I grew up in Franklin. A lot of my family's in Franklin and Hales Corners. I don't think people in that area believe that this is the right thing that should have happened. There are a lot of people that have been accused of wrongdoing who are walking the streets among us, right? Accused, but not guilty, right? We're all innocent until proven guilty. It's like a core tenet of our society. This person, Mr. Sarsour, has been detained for now months for reasons that aren't very clear to almost anybody who has taken a look at this. And what this resolution asks for is for him to just be released. It's not saying, don't look at anything, fine. If you want to look at something, fine. But release him. Why should he, this person who has been in Franklin, a happy Franklin resident for decades, not be able to walk amongst us? What is the fear to have him be locked away from his family and his community in such a way that we're doing this right now? It's reprehensible. And I think if it was your priest, your community organizer, a person that you knew in your neighborhood, you would be rightly outraged. And we should stand up for people who have just been detained. We are not getting the information that we need about this. And until that happens, I can't stand by. And I think many of us cannot stand by to have this person still be detained. It's unacceptable. And he should be released. And an investigation can happen. He's been here for 30 years. What is the harm in having him be released back to Franklin, where he has lived for decades? Doesn't make sense to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Rowland. Any other discussion? Supervisor Cox-Jones.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to thank my colleague for bringing this forth. And I believe that the power is in the people. And whether it's locally, federal, or whatever the case may be, what we're doing today definitely sets a precedent. And with that, with the permission of the author, I would like to be added as a co-sponsor, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Supervisor Vincent.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I'll make it brief. We've heard from everyone on this issue, I think, practically. For me, there is a historical component to this. Although it may seem like it's one individual that's being impacted by this, we have a history in this country going back for sure to World War II, when we took people from their homes forcibly, the Japanese internment camps. I teach my students about this. It is wrong. It is wrong to take people without some sort of reason that they broke the law, that they did something that they shouldn't have, and to do this. Now, while we're talking about an individual at this point, I defer back to Supervisor O'Connor and the fact that it is happening to people in this country that we're not even hearing about. And for us to be complicit and sit by, it isn't about whether it's a federal issue, it's about a human issue. And so I did speak to this at IGR, and any of you can go back and listen to that. I won't rehash everything I said. But I toyed on whether I should even sign on as a co-sponsor, and I did choose to do that for the reason that Mr. Sarsour, his rights have been taken away from him. And that could happen to any of us in this country. And I do think we need to stand up. There's a saying, when there's an injustice to one, there's an injustice to all. And I do think this is a case of that. So for that reason, I do stand by this. And I have family members that live in Franklin as well. We haven't really spoken a lot about this issue, but I only can imagine how they would feel if this were their family member that would be taken away from them. Thank you.
Any discussion on the item? Any other discussion on the item? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Question is adoption. Supervisor Alexander.
No.
Belinsky.
Aye.
Capriolo.
Aye.
Cox-Jones.
Aye.
Ekblad.
Aye.
Gomez-Tom.
Aye.
Johnson Jr.
Aye.
Logsdon.
No.
Martin.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
O'Connor.
Aye.
Rolland.
Aye.
Roundtree Jr.
Aye.
Shea.
Aye.
Taylor.
Aye.
Vincent.
Aye.
Wasserman. Madam Chairwoman.
Aye. 16 ayes, 2 noes. The item prevails. Mr. Clerk, next order of business.
Item 60, file number 26-306, a resolution urging the governor of Wisconsin and the state legislature to enact a comprehensive sustainable transportation and transit funding solution. This item is recommended for adoption at committee.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Any discussion on this item? Supervisor Martin.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I believe I missed the deadline for responding. I would like to be added by unanimous consent to be a co-sponsor if approved by the lead author.
All right. Any further discussion? Supervisor Taylor?
Madam Chair, I'm just going to add this. So we have a new ordinance, and the way it's supposed to work is prior to the vote or prior to go to the county clerk in advance, so he will announce. So it's not done on the floor like it's done in the past. Get to the clerk, staff, say we'd like to be added as a co-sponsor. That's how it's supposed to be done.
Supervisor Cox-Jones? Okay. Okay. Supervisor Belinsky?
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I just want to sort of say real quickly, the context of this resolution is that the last state budget, there was a $0 increase in the mass transit aids from the state, despite obviously, costs continuing to go up at a higher rate and even more in the last, few months since the beginning of the needless war in Iran. So we need to support this. We need more state funding for transit. We have a lot of tough choices to make as a body on this issue in the coming months and years, and we can't do it without more help from the state on this.
And Supervisor Ekblad? And
I ask unanimous consent to be added as a co-sponsor.
Thank you, Supervisor. Supervisor Shea?
Madam Chair, Milwaukee County Transit is an absolute vital asset to the economy and well-being of Milwaukee County. It's faced cuts, and it's almost certainly going to endure more cuts in the future, or at least in the short term. But it needs some more funding from the state. It's not just part of our economy, it's part of the state economy, because the state of Wisconsin can't prosper if Milwaukee County doesn't prosper. And Milwaukee County can't prosper unless it has an effective transit system. So I'm asking all my colleagues to support this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Shea. I saw Cox-Jones.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This here has been an uphill battle since for quite some time, even when I chaired transit. And so I want to thank Supervisor Rowland for encouraging that all levels of government work together on this so that we can have a more sustainable transit system here in Milwaukee. And Madam Chair, if I can ask for clarity on the process to add as a co-sponsor, just so that we can let other folks know as well, including myself here. So if we're on the floor, correct, we cannot ask to be added as a co-sponsor.
I'll ask our county clerk to, I'll ask our county clerk to,
Okay.
when I'm
Well,
sure
if
they're
the
having a little
permission is
sidebar.
granted.
Yeah, and this is a new process.
We're asking for patience, please.
Yes, it's our first meeting of the new term. So we have a question around the process for co-sponsorship, if you don't mind. Okay, excellent.
Madam Chairwoman, Supervisors, this is a new ordinance, so there are going to be some growing pains. I think the language probably needs to be readjusted a little bit, because I think the plain language, and I'll defer to Corporation Counsel on this. it does refer to during the board meeting. I think the intention may be to just have people stand up and say, can we please add me as a co-sponsor to county clerk? But, so I think there's, as it's written, so I think there's some clarification that needs to be added at some point to get to where you're going.
Good afternoon, Chairwoman, Supervisors. So I'm just reviewing the ordinance, and it says, after the final standing committee consideration and before final action by the county board, any supervisor may be added as a co-sponsor upon request to the county clerk. The county clerk shall add the requesting supervisor as a co-sponsor whether the request is made before the county board meeting or during consideration of the item by the county board, and shall announce the name. So as I'm reading that, that means the request has to go to the clerk, not to the chairwoman, and it's not done by unanimous consent.
They can just stand up and say, please add me, Mr. Clerk, but it can still be done on the floor, and I think that might not have been. Yeah, that may not have been the impression, so we can work on
You
that.
got to clean that up, Steve.
What?
Oh, so you got, sorry.
We can work on
I
it.
say we got to clean that up. There's also a question around if the item needs to be pulled out for individuals to be considered post-committee, because people are, so I would just say, it's a new ordinance, let's do some work on it.
Madam Chair, so this was to prevent this. And so there is growing pains for sure, there's going to be, but like why, we wanted to, when we got to this level, to this point here, like Supervisor Martin sent the county clerk an email on the 29th. You didn't get up and say, could you please add.
Which item would that be?
Or a different item. Different item. So, but the point is, it's prior, so we don't have to hold out items to be added. So you do it in advance. So
for example, if I may, Madam Chairwoman?
Yes, please.
So for an example, that would be, if an item, let's say a supervisor requested, sent an email to my office and said, I'd like to be a co-sponsor on item number, 70, and then no one calls that item up for separate action, am I supposed to call that up for separate action and let you know? I mean, so the ordinance doesn't speak to that at this point. That's a problem. Another issue is, for example, if someone tries to text me or email me during a board meeting, I can't be looking at my emails during a board meeting. I'm not going to do it. So at the end of the day, I think there's some cleanup here that has to be done to where we can really address these issues, and I'm happy to work with the co-sponsor, or the lead sponsor, and of course, Corp Counsel.
Supervisor Johnson.
Thank you, Chairwoman.
And I know there's a point of personal privilege to clarify this. We're still in the middle of an item. So I don't want the discussion now to be about this ordinance. So Supervisor, if you could, I think our lead sponsor is going to go and do some work on it. So if you're going to say something, keep it brief, then let's get back to the item.
As a practical example, during the Intergovernmental Relations Committee meeting, when sponsors of resolutions, as they were there, they were asked if they could say that for those who requested co-sponsorship, if they, as the sponsors, principal sponsors, could say the names of those individuals as accepting their co-sponsorship. So that is what we experienced in the Intergovernmental Relations Committee meeting, and it seemed to work well.
Thank you.
I just wanted to add that.
Thank
you,
So-
Chairwoman
right. Thank you, of course. So an example is I introduced a resolution as a lead sponsor, and I called out. People didn't stand up individually and ask. I called those names out, and they were added to the record in bulk or in mass. So again, we can, we're practicing it, then we can sharpen it up, and then we'll have a training maybe on it, so folks understand how the meeting should go. Okay, so I do want to go back to Corporation Counsel, do you want to add something?
I have nothing further.
Thank you so much for your help. Let's get back to where we were, which is item 60. I think we last heard from Supervisor Shea on discussion on this item 60. Supervisor Vincent.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. And I want to thank Supervisor Rowland for authoring this resolution. And I don't want to play on words, but I'm going to play on words a little bit. I jumped on the bus right away to sign on as a co-sponsor for this one. That was deliberate. The reason, that was funny. The reason I did that is being from a district that has already been adversely impacted by bus routes being cut. We no longer have bus service in Greendale. I have to advocate for my residents. I have residents that cannot get to work without bus service. And this is something that we should be lobbying the state for. We from our angle as county supervisors, we represent these people. We represent all of Milwaukee County, and we are being affected by this. So it was a no-brainer for me to sign on to this. Immediately, I reached out to Supervisor Rowland because I saw the rationale behind this is just as plain as day. We have to have additional funding from the state. We are putting that money into the state. It's just not coming back to us. So for that, I will be supporting this, and I do thank you and my fellow supervisors that do understand that this is going to affect all of us. If we don't have busing services to all of the rest of your parts of the district, you're going to be wanting this resolution to be in place. Thank you.
Supervisor Rowland.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I guess since I'm the sponsor, I should probably say something about it, right? So thank you to everybody who's spoken about this. The genesis of this was the Wisconsin Counties Association reached out to supervisors saying, hey, we would love to have all counties submit support for additional transportation funding. Because in addition to busing, it's also just about our ability to fund stoplights and streets and roads and parkways. We, as a collective body of counties, right, need funding to fund our roads, to fix the damn roads, as the good governor would say. In addition to those asks, what this also tacks on is our interest in making sure that we have a sustainable way to fund transit. And that's just not a Milwaukee County issue. There are lots of counties and cities across the state that have a bus system. So I'm hopeful that other counties will also embrace that and join us in supporting not just transit, but also fixes for our roads, streets, bridges, parkways. Thank you.
Supervisor O'Connor.
Thank you, Chairwoman, and thanks for bringing this forward to my colleague, Supervisor Rowland. And I'm hoping that additionally we can get the business community on board with this as well. We heard in committee this past week, the Southeastern Wisconsin Regional Planning Committee presentation on the fact that Milwaukee County Transit saves the region $385 million in services that it provides. If this transit system were to go away, that's what it would cost our economy. So those are some pretty real numbers. And I think this is a great opportunity to discuss that economic impact. Thank you.
Supervisor Logsdon.
Thank you, Chairwoman. I also would like to thank the author of this resolution for being proactive. This is a situation that Milwaukee County supervisors need to keep our attention on, and we do not want to lose our transit, as a lot of our community members rely on it. Thank you.
All right, seeing no further discussion, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
The question is adoption. Supervisor Alexander.
Aye.
Belinsky.
Aye.
Capriolo.
Aye.
Cox-Jones.
Aye.
Ekblad.
Aye.
Gomez-Tom.
Aye.
Johnson Jr. Aye. Logsdon.
Aye.
Martin.
Aye.
Martinez. Aye. O'Connor.
Aye.
Rolland.
Aye.
Roundtree Jr.
Aye.
Shea.
Aye.
Taylor.
Aye.
Vincent.
Aye.
Wasserman. Aye. Madam Chairwoman.
Aye.
18 ayes, 0 noes.
18 ayes, 0 noes, the item prevails. Mr. Clerk, please read into the record item 61.
Item 61, file number 26-337, a resolution to safeguard constitutional rights and ensure equal application of the law through responsible local governance and equitable federal funding. This item was recommended for adoption at committee.
Any discussion? Item 61. Supervisor O'Connor.
Thank you. I'm the lead author on this, and so I thought I would just address it. It was someone else that called it out, so there may be another comment coming. But I would just like to say that we had some really robust discussion on a previous resolution, item 59, that specifically mentioned Salah Sur. This one is sort of that more generalized resolution to assert our constitutional rights in the way that they are applied throughout Milwaukee County. So again, if there is any discomfort about individual cases, that should be alleviated by everything that's addressed in this particular resolution. Additionally, it talks about consistent funding sources. One thing we've heard repeatedly over the past sort of year is that there's a lot of uncertainty around the federal grant administration right now. So this resolution just seeks to uplift consistency in funding as well as equal application of the law. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor O'Connor. Any other discussion on this item? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
On adoption, Supervisor Alexander.
Aye.
Sorry, I had a sneeze coming on. Thank you. Supervisor Ekblad, did you want to speak on this item?
Yes, my apologies, Madam Chair. And I understand there's a new process for this, and I intend to educate myself after the ordinance has been revised a little bit, but I would ask unanimous consent to be added as a co-sponsor.
Okay.
And I guess I'll address that to the clerk, please.
Thank you, Supervisor. Any other discussion on this item?
I'm gonna start objecting to everyone then, so we do a vote. Seriously.
Okay. Okay. And then we'll have to take it to a roll call. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Any other discussion? Okay. On adoption, Mr. Clerk.
Alexander.
Aye.
Belinsky.
Aye.
Capriolo.
Aye.
Cox Jones.
Aye.
Ekblad.
Aye.
Gomez Tom.
Aye.
Johnson Jr. Logsdon.
Aye.
Martin. Martinez.
Thank you, sir.
Aye. O'Connor.
Aye.
Rolland.
Aye.
Roundtree Jr.
Aye.
Shea.
Aye.
Taylor.
Aye.
Vincent.
Aye.
Wasserman. Madam Chairwoman.
Aye.
18 ayes, 0 noes.
18 ayes, 0 noes, the item is adopted. So I just want to remind folks, once you've stopped speaking, turn your microphone off. What's happening is that there are multiple microphones still flashing green, and then it overloads the system. So just remember to turn it back off. Someone just did it manually, but if you see that green light, just make sure to turn it off. Okay. Mr. Clerk, please read in item 62, please.
Item 62, file number 26-340, a resolution ordinance amending Appendix C, Traffic Laws of Milwaukee County Code of General Ordinances to create Section 23, Paren 1, impoundment of vehicles used in reckless driving offenses as authorized in WSStats 349.115. Item was referred to Committee on Judiciary, Law Enforcement, General Services, and IGR, and it was recommended for adoption at committee.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Any discussion on this item? Supervisor Belinsky?
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I recognize this item is likely going to pass, and I think it's, a lot of us want to do something about reckless driving because it is a very serious issue, but I don't really support making it easier for the government to impound our property, and I will not be supporting this. Also, I don't think this is really going to change behavior. People can simply pay a fine and get their vehicle back, so, we're just essentially getting revenue and taxing folks after they do something wrong instead of actually having it, maybe the return of their vehicle be contingent on better driving behavior or something like that. I'm not going to belabor the point, but I continue to not support this, and I would hope we would reject it. And if we're going to be, confiscating property that's used in things that cost lives, maybe we should have a process in this state for confiscating guns from people that aren't legally allowed to have them, but we don't have that process in place.
Thank you, Supervisor. Any other discussion on this item? Supervisor Rowland.
I'll just stand up and say, I hope we support this. Reckless driving continues to be a major issue in Milwaukee County. There was just a couple days ago that a kid walking to Tosa East got hit by a car, and everybody immediately started wondering, was that my kid? Was that a kid I know? What happened? What were the circumstances? It impacts an entire neighborhoods, right? And that's just one instance of it happening. It happens way too often, and I think having a car get impounded that's been proven to be used in reckless driving is very fair. And I like that there are restrictions on if it's not, if it was the parent's car and they weren't driving, there are restrictions on, not having them be fined. I think there's all sorts of good language in here that protects people that should be protected, but that reckless drivers are impacted, and we're preventing repeat cases and disrupting this as much as we can. I think there should be more being done, but this is, to me, a good use of our time and effort, and I know it's been done in the city of Milwaukee with some success, so I hope that we pass this today. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Rowland. Supervisor, I see the lead author, Johnson, followed by Supervisor Shea and Logston.
Chairwoman Nicholson Bovell, this ordinance resolution is amending Appendix C regarding the traffic laws of Milwaukee County. The idea is to stop reckless driving in Milwaukee County. We have 19 municipalities in Milwaukee County. There has been an emphasis on what has happened in the city of Milwaukee, but more and more we've had incidents in parks. Our Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office constantly gets tips on reckless driving that's going to happen in various parks, and has dispatched staff in order to see what's going on with respect to the tips that they have gotten. As we all know, there's more and more reckless driving as time goes on. We have these incidents at intersections, whether it be at Brady Street or somewhere else, where persons show up and just drive their cars or vehicles irresponsibly, sometimes hitting people. And we have had a Vision Zero, that is to say Milwaukee County has passed a Vision Zero idea that by 2037, fatalities and injuries are to be ceased in Milwaukee County. We've also had comprehensive safety plans that have been passed here in Milwaukee County before this year. So I think this is an appropriate action for us to take, to look at, review, and subsequently pass to make it a part of this ordinance to create this section C of our traffic laws. Thank you, Chairwoman.
Thank you, Supervisor Johnson Jr. Supervisor Shea, followed by Supervisor Logston, and then Supervisor Vincent.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I can understand why someone would be reluctant to give government more power, but if we ask the average resident in Milwaukee County what is the local issue that is affecting them the most or worries them the most, the answer would almost certainly be reckless driving. As I've said many times before, I live in as sleepy a suburb as there is in Milwaukee County, yet I see people running reds, 60 miles an hour, people driving twice the speed limit, people weaving in and out of traffic with total disregard for public safety. And the sheriff's office testified that they give people tickets, but often it's people who have many tickets and have never paid them. This is a tool to get the scofflaws attention. If you're going to drive like a lunatic and not pay your fines, you're going to forfeit your car, at least temporarily. And they won't get back their car until they've paid their fines. So, sadly, this is the way to go. So I am supporting this resolution, and I think all of us should. Thank you.
Supervisor Johnson, is this a response?
Chairwoman Nicholson, up to this particular time, most of these vehicles are owned by the persons who are driving the vehicles. So it's not as if a lot of these vehicles have been stolen. Thank you, Chairwoman Nicholson.
Thank you, Supervisor. Supervisor Logsdon.
Thank you, Chairwoman. I sit and listen to all the stories and the reasoning for this resolution, and I think if we would have had this resolution years ago, we would have avoided the terrible event at the Waukesha Christmas Parade. That car was used previously on an accident, reckless driving. It was not impounded. The person got out and he used it again, and he went through a parade in which he murdered 6 people. So I think this is something that we really do need to consider passing as a county board. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor. Any other discussion on this item? Supervisor Vincent?
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman, and thank you to the author of this resolution. In conversation or just in thinking about this, we impound cars also for just parking in too long in the wrong spot. I'm not looking at anyone in particular, but we take cars away from people for parking in the wrong places. And they get them back. They have to pay a fine, unfortunately. I can't think of a better tool to prevent people from not reckless driving than to at least have this as something to hang over them. As the author, Supervisor Johnson Jr., put a lot of work into this, asked a lot of questions. I heard it when it came before committee. And individuals whose cars are stolen are going to have an avenue to get those cars back, which is very important, right? But to not do something to deter, I think, is also negligent on our part. We should be thinking of something that would make someone think maybe twice. And if they're not going to pay their fines, then they don't get their car back until they pay their fines. So to keep our roads safe is an extremely important thing for me. We are in the months coming ahead, we're going to have kids running around, playing out much more than they do in the winter months. And their safety and the safety of all residents of Milwaukee County and visitors to Milwaukee County really does matter. So I do appreciate this resolution. I signed on initially because I heard the conversations and spoke directly to Supervisor Johnson Jr. about the work he's put into this and feel it's very well thought out. So I do support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion on this item? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Question is adoption. Supervisor Alexander.
No.
Belinsky.
No.
Capriolo.
Aye.
Cox Jones.
Aye.
Ekblad.
Aye.
Gomez Tom.
No.
Johnson Jr.
Aye.
Logsdon.
Aye.
Martin. Aye. Martinez.
No.
O'Connor. Rolland.
Aye.
Roundtree Jr.
Aye.
Shea.
Aye.
Taylor.
Aye.
Vincent.
Aye.
Wasserman. Madam Chairwoman.
Aye. 14 ayes, 4 noes. The item is adopted. Supervisor Roundtree?
There it is. Thank you for the recognition, Madam Chairwoman. I just would ask that I be excused for the remainder of this meeting.
Yes, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Thank you, ma'am.
Take care.
Thank you, ma'am. You too.
Yes. Mr. Clerk, please read into the record item 63.
Item 63, file number 26-341, a resolution expressing solidarity with the residents of Hennepin and Ramsey counties in Minnesota and encouraging the people of Milwaukee County to uphold the rights protected by the United States Constitution. This item is recommended for adoption as amended at committee.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Any discussion, item 63?
It's not Hawaii, but.
Supervisor Martinez, you want to hit your microphone? Seeing no discussion, Mr. Clerk? Oh, I'm sorry.
Madam Chair.
I see you, Supervisor. There's a little lag here. Supervisor Ekblad.
Thanks so much, Madam Chairwoman. Completely understand the technical difficulties. I, as the author, want to speak to this resolution on a couple brief points. First of all, I want to thank everyone who co-sponsored. I want to thank my colleague, Supervisor Gomez-Tom, for her amendment, which I thought made the resolution stronger. This resolution acknowledges two things. The first is that the residents of Milwaukee will not forget and will not stop learning from the experience that we've seen in communities across this country that were subject to the irrational, poorly trained, vengeful violence of federal agents over the entire course of the Trump administration. But what this resolution also calls out is the positive example of those communities who rallied around one another as civilians, as residents, immigrants, non-immigrants, citizens, non-citizens, and found ways to train themselves, to educate themselves, not just on what their constitutional rights were, but how to peacefully and intentionally exercise those rights in the face of the violence of federal agents. The only reason we are able today to have clarity around the way in which Alex Preddy was shot in Minneapolis is because there were residents nearby who had the bravery and the intentionality to record that and have that recording, have that evidence in front of the American people before the federal government was able to lie about it. The other thing this resolution does is encourage every resident of Milwaukee County to go get that exact same training, mutual aid, bystander training, know your rights trainings, also that we can react with the same intention going forward. The extent to which we are able to exercise our rights is the extent to which we will retain them in this moment. And it is very clear that the Trump administration specifically is hoping that our political body has atrophied. And the muscle of our constitutional rights is not just one that we have, but one that we can prove that we can exercise. Thank you very much, Madam Chairwoman.
Thank you, Supervisor Ekblad. Supervisor Capriolo.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As someone who was born and spent my first 18 years in Hennepin County, I really appreciate Supervisor Ekblad for putting this forward. My heart has been with my friends and family who still live there and all the people in Minnesota. We're known for Minnesota Nice, and I like that we're supporting them. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Item 63. Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
On adoption, Supervisor Alexander. Supervisor Alexander.
Aye.
Belinsky.
Aye.
Capriolo.
Aye.
Cox Jones.
Aye.
Ekblad.
Aye.
Gomez Tom.
Aye.
Johnson Jr.
Aye.
Logsdon.
Aye.
Martin.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
O'Connor.
Aye.
Rolland.
Aye.
Shea.
Aye.
Taylor.
No.
Vincent.
Aye.
Wasserman. Madam Chairwoman.
Aye. Sixteen ayes, 1 no. The item is adopted. All right. Mr. Clerk, we'll go ahead and reorient ourselves. We're going to go back to the Committee on Finance. So folks, take a minute, get your agendas situated. And we're going to take up the finance report. So we're back to the top of our agenda.
Madam Chairwoman, the next order of business is the Committee on Finance on page 5 of your digest.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. We are on page 5 of the digest. Supervisor Taylor asked unanimous consent to suspend the rules to consider item 8. There are 16 items, 8 through 23. Hearing no objection on suspension of the rules, the rules are suspended. Any requests for separate action? Items 8 through 23.
15.
15 has been called out for separate action. Supervisor Belinsky.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Items 11 and 18.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Items 11 and 18.
11 and 18 have been pulled out for separate action. So far, I have 11, 15, and 18. Any other requests for separate action?
Sorry, Madam Chair. If no one else is going to, I'll call out 16.
And 16. Are there any other requests for separate action? Items 8 through 23? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk,
Madam
please.
Chair, could you please repeat the list you have of call-outs?
Of course. Items 11, 15, 16, and 18 have been called out for separate action. All right. Okay. Seeing no further requests, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
The question is adoption of the balance of the committee report. Supervisor Alexander.
Aye.
Belinsky.
Aye.
Capriolo.
Aye.
Cox Jones.
Aye.
Ekblad.
Aye.
Gomez Tom.
Aye.
Johnson Jr.
Aye.
Logsden.
Aye.
Martin. Martinez. O'Connor.
Aye.
Rolland.
Aye.
Shea.
Aye.
Taylor.
Aye.
Vincent.
Aye.
Wasserman. Madam Chairwoman.
Aye. 17 ayes, 0 noes. The balance is adopted. Mr. Clerk, if you can read in item 11, please.
Item 11, file number 26-441 from the Chief Deputy, Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office, requesting approval of Amendment Number 4 to the Inmate Calling Solutions LLC agreement for correctional communication services to act in accordance with the FCC in order FCC 25-751, 75A1, 2025 IPCS, implementation of Martha Reed Act, adopted October 20th, 2025. This item is recommended for adoption at committee.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Supervisor Belinsky.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Yeah, the way that this resolution is written, it makes it seem as if it's something that we have to do to comply with the federal law. That isn't the case. This is something that from my conversations with the Sheriff's Department, they didn't request this change. This is something because the budget that we adopted last year had a provision slipped into it that basically counts on the revenue gained by making this change to the calling rates for people who are incarcerated at our jail and CRC. It counts on that being passed to meet their budget targets. And so basically, the reason if we vote no, we are putting them in a budget deficit. And so, reluctantly at Finance Committee, I voted to support this because we really don't have a choice, a responsible choice to make here. But I did want to call out that what we're doing is we're actually burdening families of people who have someone in their family incarcerated, because they're the ones who ultimately pay the costs, because people who are incarcerated don't have the ability to earn income. And that nationwide, the burden on families that have one family member incarcerated is about $4,195 a year. And that is only compounded for people who are in lower income households and for Black families who actually tend to spend almost double, nearly $8,000 a year per family member who's incarcerated to keep in contact, to visit, all those different things. And so, I think it's wrong. There are 6 states that don't even charge people are incarcerated at all for phone calls. The federal prison system, let me repeat that, the federal prison system does not charge for phone calls. And yet here we are counting on, hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue from a contract with a vendor to provide these services. I would much rather do this in-house. Unfortunately, this is a lesson to me and everyone else in the Finance Committee that when we see a budget narrative that doesn't give details on a mysterious new source of revenue, we better know what that entails, because it kind of put us in a really bad spot once again. So reluctantly, I'll be voting to support this so we can maintain the free minutes that are included in this, but we should not be charging at all, and we certainly shouldn't be raising the rates for family members to keep in contact with their loved ones.
Thank you, Supervisor Belinsky. Is there any other discussion on item 11? Okay. Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Question is adoption. Supervisor Alexander.
No.
Belinsky.
Aye.
Capriolo.
Aye.
Cox Jones.
Aye.
Ekblad.
Aye.
Gomez Tom.
Aye.
Johnson Jr.
Aye.
Logsden.
Aye.
Martin.
Aye.
Martinez. O'Connor.
Aye.
Rolland.
Aye.
Shea.
Aye.
Taylor.
Aye.
Vincent.
Aye.
Wasserman. Madam Chairwoman.
Aye.
17 ayes.
17 ayes, 0 noes. The item is adopted. Mr. Clerk, the next. We did lose a member, yep. 16 ayes, 1 no. 16 ayes, 1 no. The item is adopted. Mr. Clerk, please read into the record item 15.
Item 15, file number 26-328, an action report providing an update on the status of McGovern Senior Center and requesting $100,000 from Org Unit 194-1945 appropriation for contingencies, fund planning, design, and cost estimating expenses by the Department of Administrative Services Facilities Management Division as they work with the Department of Health and Human Services for a long-term senior center solution on the northwest side of Milwaukee. This item was recommended for adoption at Committee on Finance and with no discussion, discussed with no action taken at Parks.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Any discussion on item 15? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Question is adoption. Supervisor Alexander.
No.
Belinsky.
Aye.
Capriolo.
Aye.
Cox Jones.
Aye.
Ekblad.
Aye.
Gomez Tom.
Aye.
Johnson Jr.
Aye.
Logsden.
Aye.
Martin.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
O'Connor.
Aye.
Rolland.
Aye.
Shea.
Aye.
Taylor.
No.
Vincent.
Aye.
Wasserman. Madam Chairwoman.
Aye.
15 ayes, 2 noes.
15 ayes, 2 noes. The item is adopted. Mr. Clerk, please read into the record item 16, please.
Item 16, file number 26-403, the Milwaukee County Parks Department, in coordination with the Department of Administrative Services, Economic Development, and Real Estate Services Division, is requesting approval authorizing Milwaukee County to enter into a long-term lease agreement with Two Weather Vanes LLC for the lease of Trimborn Farm located at 8881 West Grange Avenue, Greendale. This item was recommended for adoption at committee.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Any discussion on item 16? Supervisor Belinsky.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I do want to thank all those who, participated in this process, and I will be voting no mainly for 2 reasons. One, I don't believe that, as well-intentioned as it is, that this plan is going to turn a profit for this organization, which is going to leave us with some more work to do later on. Second, I don't think we should be leasing public spaces to for-profit entities in general. I would have much preferred this to be a nonprofit lease, and maybe we can do that again in the future when this probably doesn't become profitable. But yeah, that's why I'll be voting no.
Supervisor Vincent.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I wasn't going to call it out because my hope was that it would go through unanimously, but I want Supervisor Belinsky to know that I understand and appreciate his sentiment on this. This really has involved the entire district, or the community, I should say, of Greendale. I will first and foremost give an extra special thank you to Director Celia Benton and also to Project Manager Erica Goublé. They have worked tirelessly with this project proposal over the past year. There have been many community meetings and site tours and just a lot of discussion about this. The individual who was awarded or is being awarded the RFP, if it goes through today, is a longtime Greendale resident who has strong ties to the community and her ultimate goal is to see that this site that will be demolition by neglect, if it doesn't have somebody step in, that this site does continue to be a strong historic site in our community. So while I know it's going to take a lot to get to this even being a profitable situation because of all the deferred maintenance, the nature of the individual behind this RFP and the fact that she has reached out to all of the RFP applicants, including the one that has dissented, who I respect, that she has tried to work with the individuals to make sure that this becomes a vibrant location in our community. Some of us just attended Charles Alice Museum's annual report last night, and we are going to have to do, as a county, some of these public-private partnerships. There's just no other way out of this. We do not have the funding to take care of the deferred maintenance. The $1.5 million in one building alone on that site is just not something the county is going to be able to sustain and afford. So with that, I do give my accolades to Weather Vanes. Virginia Emmons is the founder, I believe, of that organization, and to all of the community that has come out over the past year to share their wants and needs for this site. I encourage all of you to get out to the site at some point. I can guarantee you, if this does pass today, that Virginia will be extending that welcome to this entire board to come out and see some of the great things that are going to transpire. I will just simply say the Village of Greendale has seemingly been working closely with her to start getting some permitting possibilities, because she would like to get some things going already this year. I think this site needs attention as soon as possible, and it's not going to happen from the county doing it by itself. So I want to thank Two Weather Vanes, Virginia Emmons McNaught and her husband Brett McNaught for taking the lead on this, and for all of the RFP applicants for the wonderful ideas that are somehow going to get worked into this future. And I encourage everyone to go visit this site. So thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor, any other discussion on this item? Seeing none? All right, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Question is adoption. Supervisor Alexander.
No.
Belinsky.
No.
Capriolo.
Aye.
Cox-Jones.
Aye.
Ekblad.
Aye.
Gomez-Tom.
Aye.
Johnson Jr.
Aye.
Logsdon. Aye. Martin. Aye. Martinez.
Aye.
O'Connor.
Aye.
Rolland.
Aye.
Shea.
Aye.
Taylor.
Aye.
Vincent.
Aye.
Wasserman. Madam Chairwoman.
Aye. 15 ayes, 2 noes. The item is adopted. Mr. Clerk, last in the finance report is item 18.
Item 18, file number 26-389, a resolution ordinance amending Chapter 32, Department of Administration, Subchapter 2, Procurement Division, Section 32.40, General Milwaukee County Code of General Ordinances, to include a disclosure of governmental contracts and the information required in the requested proposals process. This item was recommended for adoption.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Any discussion on this item? Supervisor Belinsky.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. The sort of intent behind this resolution is twofold. First, it allows us to do our diligence as a reviewing contracts to potentially reach out and see how other local government units have had their experience with a particular vendor, and whether that's been positive or not, whether their needs were met or not. And then secondly, it's so we can be sure that we're not going into business with folks who are going into business with, let's say with ICE, for instance. We just learned recently that one of the two contractor bidders for our sewage contract has ties to, Peter Thiel, not a good individual. And so just the more information we have, the better as we go into long-term arrangements with, with vendors.
Thank you, Supervisor. Any other discussion on this item? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Question is adoption. Supervisor Alexander.
Aye.
Belinsky.
Aye.
Capriolo.
Aye.
Cox Jones.
Aye.
Ekblad.
Aye.
Gomez Tom.
Aye.
Johnson Jr.
Aye.
Logsdon.
Aye.
Martin.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
O'Connor.
Aye.
Rolland.
Aye.
Shea.
Aye.
Taylor.
Aye.
Vincent.
Aye.
Wasserman. Madam Chairwoman.
Aye. 17 ayes, 0 noes. The item is adopted.
Madam Chairwoman, the next order of business is the Committee on Personnel.
We are now on the report of the Committee on Personnel. It's on page 17 of the digest. There are 11 items, 24 through 34. Supervisor Alexander asks consent to suspend the rules to consider item 24. Seeing no objection, so ordered. Any supervisor requesting separate action, please note that 29 through 34 require a 2/3 vote of members-elect. And I do believe there are some amendments pending, so we'll go ahead and pull out items 32, 33, and 34. Sorry, I'm so sneezy today. Thank you. Items 32, 33, and 34 have amendments pending. Any other requests for separate action? All right, seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the balance on the report.
Question is adoption of the balance of the committee report. Supervisor Alexander.
Aye.
Belinsky.
Aye.
Capriolo.
Aye.
Cox Jones.
Aye.
Ekblad.
Aye.
Gomez Tom.
Aye.
Johnson Jr.
Aye.
Logsdon.
Aye.
Martin. Martinez.
Aye.
O'Connor.
Aye.
Rolland.
Aye.
Shea.
Aye.
Taylor.
Aye.
Vincent.
Aye.
Wasserman. Madam Chairwoman.
Aye.
17 ayes, 0 noes.
17 ayes, 0 noes. The balance is adopted. Mr. Clerk, first item for separate action is item 32.
Can we
Supervisor Taylor?
can we combine all three together because they're basically identical, the same situation?
Okay. Supervisor Taylor asked unanimous consent to take items 32, 33, and 34 together. Hearing no objection, so ordered. Okay, Mr. Clerk, can you read in items 32 through 34, please?
Item 32, file number 26-395 from the Director, Department of Transportation, requesting approval to create one FTE administrator contract position, pay grade NR 28E in the Director's office. This item was recommended for adoption. Item 33, file number 26-397 from the Director, Department of Transportation, requesting authorization to abolish one fleet mechanic position, pay grade NR 21, and create one accounting supervisor position, pay grade NR 25 in the Department of Transportation Fleet Management. This item was recommended for adoption. Item 34, file number 26-398, from the Director, Department of Transportation, requesting approval to abolish 1.36 FTE Highway Maintenance Worker 2 positions, representing one full-time Highway Maintenance Worker 2 position and one Highway Maintenance Worker 2 temporary assignment, pay grade NR 20, and create one full-time Electrical Mechanic DOT position, pay grade BT 26, cost neutral. This item is recommended for adoption.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Supervisor Taylor, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the county board adopts the budget. In fact, it's a line item budget. Only the county board can do amendments to the budget. All right, that's what we're doing today. But there was no financial review of the Finance Committee. Now, you know my love of personnel matters, so I do not really want to see personnel matters come before Finance Committee. However, we should have in our fund transfer document, we should be able to look at these numbers. There were no numbers listed. We just are creating new positions. And yes, the money is there. We don't want to slow the process down and not allow these positions to be created, but the fund transfer should be reviewed. The financial should be reviewed by Finance Committee. These amendments for each one of these items basically takes care of that. In the future, that should take place at Finance. Not that these items come before Finance, but the fund transfers should be brought forward to find, by, as Director Katie is pointing to me, by state law. So we just want to follow the law, and I think this is probably just something that, I'm not sure, I think it changed maybe during the COVID years, and this is just the new process that's been established. Well, we're going to make some changes, so we make sure that the administration provides us the necessary information so we can all together follow the law. I make a motion to adopt.
Thank you. So the motion to amend has been made. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll. Okay.
So the question is to adopt the respective amendments simultaneously to the three items. Supervisor Alexander?
No.
Valinsky?
Aye.
Capriolo?
Aye.
Cox-Jones?
Aye.
Ekblad?
Aye.
Gomez-Tom?
Aye.
Johnson Jr.?
Aye.
Logsden?
Aye.
Martin?
Aye.
Martinez?
Aye.
O'Connor?
Aye.
Rolland?
Aye.
Shea?
Aye.
Taylor?
Aye.
Vincent?
Aye.
Wasserman? Madam Chairwoman?
Aye.
16 ayes, 1 no.
16 ayes,
Items before
1 no.
And ma'am,
Supervisor
Madam Chair,
Taylor.
I'd like to adopt as amended.
Yep. So we'll adopt items 32 through 34 as amended. Mr. Clerk?
On the question, Supervisor Alexander?
Aye.
Valinsky?
Aye.
Capriolo?
Aye.
Cox-Jones?
Aye.
Ekblad?
Aye.
Gomez-Tom?
Aye.
Johnson Jr.?
Aye.
Logsden?
Aye.
Martin? Martinez?
Aye.
O'Connor?
Aye.
Rolland?
Aye.
Shea?
Aye.
Taylor?
Aye.
Vincent?
Aye.
Wasserman? Madam Chairwoman?
Aye. 17 ayes, 0 noes. The items are adopted.
Madam Chairwoman, the next order of business is health equity, human needs, and strategic planning.
All right, which is on page 23 of the digest. There are 9 items, 35 through 43. Any requests for separate action? Items 35 through 43. Supervisor O'Connor?
Thank you, Chairman. 43, please.
Item 43 is called out. Any other requests for separate action? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Question is adoption of the balance of the committee report. Supervisor Alexander?
Aye.
Belinsky?
Aye.
Capriolo?
Aye.
Cox-Jones?
Aye.
Ekblad?
Aye.
Gomez-Tom?
Aye.
Johnson Jr.?
Aye.
Logsden?
Aye.
Martin?
Aye.
Martinez?
Aye.
O'Connor?
Aye.
Rolland?
Aye.
Shea?
Aye.
Taylor?
Aye.
Vincent?
Aye.
Wasserman? Madam Chairwoman?
Aye. 17 ayes, 0 noes. The balance is adopted. Mr. Clerk, please read in item 43.
Item 43, file number 26372, a resolution recognizing May 26 as the Amyotrophic Lateral Sclerosis Awareness Month.
Thank you. Any discussion on the item? Supervisor O'Connor?
Thank you, Chairman. I specifically called this out because part of the language in the resolution is that this is to raise awareness of ALS disease, and that is why we're asking for the recognition for this month, so that the residents of our county, whether or not they have family members affected or friends, that they do some additional research and education around this very detrimental disease. The resolution was brought to us as a board by Milwaukee County residents who do have family members or friends affected. So it's to acknowledge their experiences, their losses, and hopefully to uplift measures for seeking a cure and prevention.
Thank you so much, Supervisor O'Connor. Any other discussion on the item? Supervisor Shea?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to applaud Supervisor O'Connor for her work here. My father died of ALS. Watching an extremely healthy, active, vibrant human being just waste away is probably the most painful thing I've ever seen in my entire life. So I support this resolution. I ask all my fellow supervisors to do the same.
Thank you, Supervisor Shea. I've alerted the clerk that I do wish to co-sponsor. Supervisor Shea, I'm so sorry to hear about what happened to your father. I also lost my brother-in-law last May to ALS. It is a debilitating disease, and he is former military, and we've learned that those who served in the military are high risk of being diagnosed with this disease. So I applaud you, Supervisor O'Connor. I do know we need to raise awareness around this, and I never want to see anyone go through what families are going through. So thank you so much. Any other discussion? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Clerk.
Question is adoption of item 43. Supervisors Alexander.
Aye.
Valinsky.
Aye.
Capriolo.
Aye.
Cox Jones.
Aye.
Ekblad.
Aye.
Gomez Tom.
Aye.
Johnson Jr.
Aye.
Logston.
Aye.
Martin. Martinez.
Aye.
O'Connor.
Aye.
Rolland.
Aye.
Shea.
Aye.
Taylor.
Aye.
Vincent.
Aye.
Wasserman. Madam Chairwoman.
Aye. 17 ayes, 0 noes. The item is adopted. Okay. Mr. Clerk.
Madam Chairwoman, the next order of business is Committee on Judiciary, Law Enforcement, and General Services.
We are on the JLEX report, which is on page 27 of the digest. There are 3 items, 44 through 46. Any requests? Let's see, 46 is called out for separate action. 45. All right, so we will take them up separately. Mr. Clerk, if you could read in item 44.
Item 44, file number 26448, from the County Executive, appointing George Blesdo to the Milwaukee County Ethics Board for a term expiring April 30th, 2023.
Thank you. Any discussion on this item, 44? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Question is adoption of item 44. Supervisors Alexander.
Aye.
Belinsky.
Aye.
Capriolo.
Aye.
Cox Jones.
Aye.
Ekblad.
Aye.
Gomez Tom.
Aye.
Johnson Jr. Logston.
Aye.
Martin.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
O'Connor.
Aye.
Rolland.
Aye.
Shea.
Aye.
Taylor.
Aye.
Vincent.
Aye.
Wasserman. Madam Chairwoman.
Aye. 17 ayes, 0 noes. The item is adopted. Mr. Clerk, if you could read in item 45.
Item 45, file number 26363, a resolution ordinance to amend section 1.21 of the Milwaukee County Code of General Ordinances to require standing committee review of reappointments.
All right. Supervisor Johnson?
Chairwoman, I'm sorry, I apologize for calling out the wrong item. I should have called out item 46.
Okay. Is there any other discussion on this item? We'll go ahead and call the roll. Mr. Clerk?
Question is adoption of item 45. Supervisors Alexander.
Aye.
Belinsky.
Aye.
Capriolo.
Aye.
Cox Jones.
Aye.
Ekblad.
Aye.
Gomez Tom.
Aye.
Johnson Jr.
Aye.
Logston.
Aye.
Martin. Martinez.
Aye.
O'Connor.
Aye.
Rolland.
Aye.
Shea. Taylor.
Aye.
Vincent.
Aye.
Wasserman. Madam Chairwoman.
Aye. 17 ayes, 0 noes. Item 45 is adopted, and then we'll go ahead and take up item 46.
Item 46, file number 26411, from the Chief Deputy, Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office, requesting approval to create Section 56.34 within Chapter 56 of the Milwaukee County Code of General Ordinances relating to internal mortgage foreclosure sales, auctions, and authorizing these auctions by a registered auctioneer.
Supervisor Johnson.
Chairwoman Nicholson Bovell, the amendment should have been sent to everyone by Director Katie. The amendment does ordain as follows: a Section 56.34 of the Milwaukee County Code of Ordinances is hereby created as follows. This is Section 56, verse 34, in Internet mortgage foreclosure sales. Section 2, the ordinance shall take effect on July 31st, 2026. What has happened, Chairwoman and Supervisors, is that landlords have gotten together to collude in order to have certain properties sold among themselves. And the idea is to create this internet function, this internet process, by which such collusion would be greatly reduced by having the internet sales not in person, but through the internet. So I move to adopt the amendment for file number 26-411. Chairwoman Nicholson.
Thank you, Supervisor. I'm just searching for that amendment myself. Is there any discussion on the motion to amend? All right, seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Question is adoption of amendment to item number 46. Supervisor Alexander.
Aye.
Belinsky.
Aye.
Capriolo.
Aye.
Cox-Jones.
Aye.
Ekblad.
Aye.
Gomez-Tom.
Aye.
Johnson Jr.
Aye.
Logston.
Aye.
Martin. Martinez. O'Connor. Rolland. Shea.
Aye.
Taylor. Vincent.
Aye.
Wasserman. Madam Chairwoman.
Aye. 17 ayes, 0 noes. We're amended. Supervisor?
Chairwoman Nicholson Bovell, I move to adopt file number 26-411 as amended.
Okay, any discussion? Seeing none. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Question is adoption of item 46 as amended. Supervisors Alexander.
Aye.
Belinsky.
Aye.
Capriolo.
Aye.
Cox-Jones.
Aye.
Ekblad.
Aye.
Gomez-Tom.
Aye.
Johnson Jr.
Aye.
Logston. Martin.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
O'Connor.
Aye.
Rolland.
Aye.
Shea.
Aye.
Taylor. Vincent. Wasserman.
Oops, sorry.
Madam Chairwoman.
Aye. 17 ayes, 0 noes. The item is adopted. All right. That completes the report. That was J-Legs, correct? Okay. All right. So, Mr. Clerk, we're on Committee on Parks and Culture.
Madam Chairwoman, that's correct. Next order of business is Committee on Parks and Culture.
Okay. Which is on page 29 of the digest. There's 6 items, 47 through 52. 49 has an amendment pending, so we will call out item 49. Are there any other requests for separate action? 47.
47.
47 has been called out. Any other requests for separate action? Items 47 through 52. I'm seeing none. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll on the balance.
Question is adoption of the balance of the committee report. Supervisors Alexander.
Aye.
Belinsky.
Aye.
Capriolo.
Aye.
Cox-Jones.
Aye.
Ekblad.
Aye.
Gomez-Tom. Johnson Jr. Logston.
Aye.
Martin. Martinez.
Aye.
O'Connor.
Aye.
Rolland.
Aye.
Shea.
Aye.
Taylor.
Aye.
Vincent.
Aye.
Wasserman. Madam Chairwoman.
Aye. 17 ayes, 0 noes. The balance is adopted. Mr. Clerk, item 47, please.
Item 47, file number 26422, request to approve funding structure for CAMPAC allocations beginning in 2026.
Any discussion on item 47? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Madam Chair. Madam Chair.
Supervisor Ekblad.
I believe Supervisor Belinsky and I Supervisor Belinsky also has his hand up. Thank you, Madam Chair. I spoke about this at committee a little bit. The criteria that we're changing to award this funding is really concerning to me. I can understand that the CAMPAC committee voted unanimously for this new approach. My concern really has to do with the concept of social cohesion that they introduced as a criteria. CAMPAC funding had been going in equal amounts to organizations no matter what their size, which I can understand how that would raise questions about equality, but the reality is that the ecosystem for the arts and the funding sources for that ecosystem is so much smaller the smaller a fish you are in that ecosystem. And the operational funds for these smaller theater companies, these smaller artists that are not the Milwaukee Rep, that are not larger organizations, this operational funding is critical to their existence, exponentially more than it is to the Rep. And I don't begrudge representatives of the Milwaukee Rep or other larger organizations from advocating for funding. I don't hold that against anyone. I certainly don't begrudge the funding going to them. But I do believe that this approach to the CAMPAC funding is going to actually negatively impact social cohesion, is going to negatively impact the smaller fish in this ecosystem that deliver amazing enrichment to our community on a block by block, neighborhood by neighborhood level. And so I will absolutely be voting no. I think the approach that we're taking to these dollars as the overall amount is going down anyway is misguided. I would ask my colleagues to vote against this.
Thank you, Supervisor Ekblad. Supervisor Belinsky, followed by Supervisor Taylor.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Would echo most of what my colleague Supervisor Ekblad said. I think that we've seen groups like the Marcus Center, they have no hesitation to come to us separately for funding if they need it. But we don't need to put them at the front of the line one more time. So I believe that, yeah, we have much more impact on the smaller organizations than these bigger ones who would barely feel this funding compared to the others. So I'll be voting no as well.
Thank you. Supervisor Taylor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, I'm voting no for a much different reason. $307,000, that's what the county funded last year. I think the work of CAMPAC coming together and come up with a new policy on the funding, I think that's fine. But the reality is, will there be any money there? Because this budget, and every chance I get, I'm going to talk about how tough this budget's going to be. And $307,000 could be the difference of having a senior center open or closed. These are the type of decisions that this body is going to have to make. What are your priorities? Each one of us is going to have to decide what your priorities are in this upcoming budget, because it is not going to be pretty. And if you look at the list of all the different organizations that are getting funded, I'm sure there's more than one or two that you say, I really like that organization. We may not be able to help them anymore. And so, in a way, they went through all this work to come up with this new formula. But the reality is, what they should be doing is finding out different sources of revenue, because the county may no longer be one of them. And yeah, I could be totally full of it, and we're going to find a way to do it. But if you thought the last budget was tough and we had less money to figure out things, and we already cut $100,000 last year from the previous year, These are the things you have to think about and start thinking about now. And these organizations should start thinking about it now, because what happens if they don't get that money? They better start looking elsewhere. They really need to start looking elsewhere.
Supervisor Rowland.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'm going to support this because we asked as a body, CAMPAC, to come up with a funding structure because we didn't like the funding structure that was in place. And it's unclear to me if we reject this, where we go from here. And I know that there are a lot of organizations that are probably counting on some money coming in. So if we don't pass this, and it's already May, then what? Then what happens? Like, does it go back to CAMPAC? Does somebody else, like, write up a resolution? Like, how do we get these organizations to get some funding in 2026 when there is funding, right? We had funding set aside for arts organizations. So I think there needs to be some clarity. I'm comfortable with this funding structure, and I think, I think if we wanted to have voice on, like, our opinion on these things, then I would have hoped that we would have voiced those things to CAMPAC so they could have considered those things, and then, or in committee, or, yada, yada, yada. Now I just think we're here, and if we don't pass this, then there are a lot of organizations that aren't going to get money this year, or it's going to take a long time. So wait, well, okay, I'll just keep going.
Yes.
Yeah, thank
Yes,
you.
of
All right. In terms of next year, yeah, I think that's 100% right. I'll just tell you, I'm not voting for anything if we're cutting a bunch of bus routes. I'm not. And that's coming, I'm not. This is something that we have to figure out another way to fund this, and I know that there are organizations that are thinking through ways to do this. We count on the state. We're an arm of the state, right? So if the state government is not providing us with funding to provide this money, then I don't know how we continue to do this in the future. We don't even have enough money to run our team out on the field, let alone, have a performing arts function, right? We don't even have enough people to maintain our parks or just like the core functions of what Milwaukee County is. If the state would give us more money, then we would have more money to allocate, and I think that's definitely something that we should push for. But if they're not going to do it, there aren't like other municipalities like in Milwaukee County that have a big arts fund that are giving a bunch of arts money because they too don't get money from the state or any other ways, like some dedicated funding for arts, so they don't give it out. There's not arts money in TOSA, right, for some performing arts thing. So I think there's two things, right? This right before us is we got to get some kind of funding structure figured out for this year so these organizations get funded. But then, yeah, I think there's going to be a real difficult conversation ahead for next year on what makes the cut and what doesn't. And I think this may be one that we can't keep a promise on anymore because there's just too many promises we need to keep elsewhere that are part of the core of what makes Milwaukee County, Milwaukee County. Thank you.
Supervisor Wasserman.
I'm physically sitting between these two individuals who have really brought up a major issue. Both are in some ways right and both are somewhat hopefully wrong. But there are several issues here. The biggest issue of all is we don't have money. We need more money for lots of things. But one of the things that, and we can talk about this huge philosophical issue, but what's before us is exactly what Supervisor Rowland said. This is just a structure if we have money to go forward with allocations. If we have money. We're not making final allocations. Even the cornerstone groups here are not guaranteed money. We can always change it. There's no guarantees in any of this, pending what finance comes up with, pending what the government, state gives us. So practically what we should figure out today is this a structure to move forward? And I think it is the correct structure. I'm working with these groups. I've worked with the CAMPAC chair. I've worked with, it's leaving the Parks Department. It's now going into the administration. I'm going to work with them coming up with a solution or somehow a structure which is outlined before us today on working with all groups. But there is something about small groups and large groups, and the final decision will come from CAMPAC. People who have already been appointed and will be appointed to serve as a 7-member board, these are people with art expertise, understanding of the performing arts. Let them decide which groups get it, which ones don't get it. I don't think we really should do this. I mean, unless our body really wants to. Let the art experts and performing arts people in the community make these decisions. They will decide. It's $1,000, $2,000. We're trying to spread out as much as possible. This structure today is really the best of all worlds. Big groups have been around with proven track records, can get a little bit more. We're not talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're talking a few $1,000s more. I wish it was hundreds of thousands of dollars, but we don't have it. We're talking a few $1,000s more. So I think we move forward with the structure today. The greater fight will be coming this fall. And I have to tell you, I do believe in the arts. I strongly believe in them. We can't give this up. We're talking about $1 billion budget. We're talking less than what is that? Less than 1/10 of a percentage? I think it's like 100th of a percentage is what we're talking about. If we give up our humanity when we give up our arts completely. And I understand a bus route, but sometimes we just have to, we can't sell ourselves that short. So today we're passing one thing, a structure for the future. We have experts in arts going to decide what the future is. The overall budget will come forward, what they'll decide, how much in the future, but let's do one thing today. And our fall, hopefully we'll all be here to enjoy fall and work with Supervisor Taylor and the Finance Committee because they have a huge job and a lot of us don't want to be on it for specific reasons, making decisions. And the point is, they're going to be saying no to a lot of different people. And they're going to make a lot of people very angry. And the 7 members of the Finance Committee, good luck.
Thank you. Thank you, Supervisor Wasserman, for saying that out loud. Okay, any other discussion on this item? Supervisor Taylor, followed by Supervisor Shea.
I got the question.
And I see you, Supervisor Ekblad.
Answered, Madam Chair, but I will remind us, unless something changed, I think the state of Wisconsin is dead last in the cultural and the arts, right? They're dead. What, 49th? Who's beating up? Who are we beating? Mississippi probably or something? It's usually Mississippi.
Wow.
It usually is Mississippi. It always is. It really is. It's a just terribly run state. And it's a red run state. So I'm not even picking on the left to center states. But seriously, I think we're at the very bottom. So we're just above dead last. So that says a lot. And that's both parties have made those decisions. I mean, both parties. It's not always, this has been this way for a long time. And you have a Democratic governor. It's not like he's proposing a whole bunch of money for the arts and cultural. So both sides in Madison have said, no. We cannot solve these problems ourselves. It's got to be the public sector. I mean, the private sector needs to do it, not the public sector.
Supervisor Shea, followed by Supervisor Ekblad.
Madam Chair, during World War II, Winston Churchill was asked, why are we continuing to fund the arts? We're in the middle of World War. Winston Churchill said, that's what we're fighting for. And the arts are an absolutely vital part to Milwaukee County. So, even if this resolution isn't perfect, I'm going to support it. And the idea that we could do away with arts funding, let's not be Philistines. Let's support the arts. Every great civilization supports its arts. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor. Supervisor Ekblad.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairwoman. I appreciate the points that were already raised about the reality of whether there will be funds or not be funds for this next budget cycle. And I just remind my colleagues that we are voting on the structure of these funds. And I would just respond to my colleague, Supervisor Rowland, by saying I raised my concerns about changing the structure of the CAMPAC funding last year when this came before Parks Committee, and Parks Committee, at the behest of representatives of Milwaukee Repertory Theater, put existential operational funding on the line over their objections. Sorry, let me rephrase that. Parks Committee voted to put operational funding for smaller theaters those funds were existential to them. We put that at risk because of objections to the Milwaukee Repertory Theater. That have had such a negative impact on the ecosystem that the representatives of the Milwaukee Rep actually walked that back within a half an hour of the vote of the committee, and we fixed it before the full board. The impact of this structure is going to be very real. The difference of $14,000, give or take, for the Milwaukee Repertory Theater is nothing compared to the loss of $4,000 to $5,000 for smaller theater companies and their operations. So I've raised these objections early. I will raise them often, and I'm voting against it. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Supervisor. Any other discussion on this item? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Question is adoption of item 47. Supervisors Alexander.
No.
Belinsky.
No.
Capriola.
Aye.
Cox-Jones.
Aye.
Ekblad.
No.
Gomez-Tom.
Aye.
Johnson Jr.
Aye.
Logston.
Aye.
Martin.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
O'Connor.
Aye.
Rolland.
Hey, aye. Sorry, I was counting and saying aye at the same time.
Shea.
Aye.
Taylor.
No.
Vincent.
Aye.
Wasserman. Madam Chairwoman.
Aye. One excuse. All right, we have 13 ayes, 4 noes, 1 excused. The item prevails. Mr. Clerk, we have for separate action, item 49.
Item 49, file number 26386, from the Executive Director of Parks requesting authorization to grant an easement to American Transmission Company, ATC, on county-owned land adjacent to Silver Spring Drive and I-43.
Any discussion on this item? Supervisor O'Connor.
Thank you, Chairwoman. So this item came before us in Parks, and it looked to be a relatively straightforward easement request. But one thing that really kind of caught my eye was some of the language that was used to justify the request for the easement. And what it said is that it is occurring because of the need to expand the grid for existing customers as well as new large-scale electrical loads. And that wasn't very clearly defined. And I have my concerns around that. And for a while, I've had concerns about the proposed We Energy's 14% rate hike to individual consumers. There's a lot of discussion around that. And partially, the justification is being used also because of an expansion of the grid. And it is suspected that a lot of that is tied to the introduction of multiple more large data centers in our area. So it just didn't sit right with me that we would move ahead with a quick approval. But after further consultation with Corporation Counsel, we realized that really our hands are tied. And we have to basically approve this. A rate has been negotiated for Milwaukee County, and if we vote no, it's still going to happen anyway. But we could potentially receive a less favorable rate. So the amendment that I'm proposing just sort of calls out the problematic nature of that request, that we really have no autonomy in the situation. We really have no ability to argue our own case on behalf of our constituents and our residents in Milwaukee County. This is just an opportunity to say, you know what, we're concerned about the expansion of the grid without really specific justification, without specific explanation, and understanding how that's going to impact our residents. Are they bearing the burden of these big data centers? Are the data centers really bearing their fair share of the costs? And also, how are we doing this in a sustainable manner? Are we just continuing to build out using fossil fuels, or are we really following, in fact, their own plans to be more sustainable and invest in renewables? Anything the energy companies do that complicate the commitment to sustainable resources makes it hard for Milwaukee County to reach our own climate action plan goals. So this is a sort of 4-section amendment that doesn't change. It doesn't recommend that we don't go ahead and grant this easement at the more favorable rate that Corporation Council has negotiated for us, but it just calls out that we have concerns. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor. Any discussion on, I'm sorry, did you move to amend?
And I will move to amend. Thank you.
Supervisor O'Connor moves to amend item 49. Is there any discussion on that motion? Okay. All right, seeing none. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Question is adoption of amendment to item 49. Supervisors Alexander.
Aye.
Berlinski.
Aye.
Capriola.
Aye.
Cox Jones.
Aye.
Ekblad.
No.
Gomez Tom.
Aye.
Johnson Jr.
Aye.
Logston.
Aye.
Martin. Aye. Martinez.
Aye.
O'Connor.
Aye.
Rolland.
Aye.
Roundtree. Oh my God, sorry. Shea.
Aye.
Taylor.
Aye.
Vincent.
Aye.
Wasserman. Madam Chairwoman.
Aye. 16 ayes, 1 no, and 1 excused. The item is amended. Supervisor O'Connor?
Thank you, Chairman. I'll move to adopt as amended.
Okay, we have a motion to adopt as amended. Supervisor Alexander, did you have remarks? Okay, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I have a question probably for Corporation Council on this. This is on my side of the county, and I've had a few conversations with We Energies and different utilities lately regarding easements. We have a lot of construction going on over here, apparently. So 2 questions come to mind just after the last speaker's points that I want to make sure that I understand the best that I can before we would vote on this item as amended. The first is if our formal approval of this easement would in any way reduce our ability to use this land as we currently do, or as we currently would legally be allowed to. I guess in addition to legally, we'll add, safely in there. Is there anything that we're actually giving up or losing by granting this easement? And then the second question, hand in hand with that, I'm concerned about the concept of asking permission for an easement to begin with. We're being told that we really don't have a choice, but if we want to receive the compensation, we would need to vote for this. I recently had to deal with We Energies, me and my neighbors all the way down my street and around my block and a few neighborhoods over, because they came to us asking for easements to be able to put some wires underground. Some homeowners quickly said, sure, no problem. I'm happy to have things go underground. What they didn't realize at the time, and personally, I rejected their request to have an easement on my property because they still have the right-of-way area, at least in that case with the residential homes. They were specifically asking for an easement because if they buried the electrical lines and did their work underground within the right-of-way, then they acknowledged that in the future, if, say, the road got repaved or, the city, the county, whoever, any level of government needed to do something there, the way the laws are set up in Wisconsin, the onus would be on We Energies to bear the cost in a general sense of having to dig up what they've put down in the right of way. But if they move just a foot or two over into the homeowner's property and they have a formal easement in place, then if anything needs to be done, whether it's, for some reason something to do with the roadway, or if the homeowner or property owner needed to do something in their yard, then none of the costs of uplifting anything pass on to We Energies, and it would be solely the responsibility of the property owner. So I thoroughly fleshed out, are you guys offering compensation for this? And they weren't in our cases, but this is very reminiscent of those conversations, and I want to make sure, why exactly are they compensating us? Can you put it in simple terms so that I can understand? Are we losing something? How we use this land? And if something needs to be done in the future, if we approve this, does that mean we're taking on the cost of moving their facilities or lines or whatever it is, or do they retain the cost if something has to happen on the land? Thank you.
Thank you. Corporation Counsel.
Good afternoon, Chairwoman and Supervisor, Corporation Counsel Scott Brown. So I guess on a broader overview, we have a parallel case pending in court right now under eminent domain, where they would be seeking to take this land to use for laying underground wires. And, that process would play out in litigation. If this were approved today, that case would functionally be moot and settled. But what we would be granting them is what they're paying us for is the right to lay underground wires through one of our parks. Within the easement agreement, if anything ever happens, if the grantee, which would be ATC, were to abandon the facility, it would be at their expense to remove all facilities and related structures, restoring the easement area as nearly as possible, the condition that it was prior to the granting of this easement. So that's written into the easement agreement, that any changes they're responsible for taking care of.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. And Corporation Counsel, I think that answers part of the question, but it's not so much if they abandon it, but, what if for some reason we need to do something in that land, we need to go underground for the county's purposes, and, something that they've placed there is in the way? Does the fact that we're authorizing the easement mean that the expense is on us later rather than on them? I'm concerned that we might be being penny wise and pound foolish here long term, that if an easement is inevitable and can be forced upon us accepting a payment and authorizing it, that may be giving up rights that we could have down the road that would be far more expensive and far more valuable to us at that time. And it's just, forgive me, I've been through enough of these situations with contracts and easements and discrepancies that come up years later where we say, well, nobody ever thought of that I'm trying so hard to help us be strategic. And, if the answer is no, there's no increased risks, then great. But if this payment is actually subtly implied because we're taking on the responsibility that they won't have that responsibility, I would be very concerned about authorizing it.
So, Chairwoman, is the question, is in the future, if we needed to perform some kind of repairs on the area where the easement would it be at our expense or theirs?
That's part of the question, yes. The other part of the question is, does issuing a formal improvement on this easement reduce in any way our ability to use the parkland, whatever abilities we currently have for using that parkland? If there's wires there now, does putting in higher wires or higher charge wires, more potent wires, are we losing any abilities to use this land as we want to? And is this payment implicitly putting any onus on us in the future?
Well, as for the operational use of the land, that would be parks expertise, whether or not the voltage levels, et cetera, were suitable for human use and occupation. In terms of what rights we're giving up, we are giving up, as set forth in the easement in full, the area underneath the park where these wires would be running. I would have to defer to someone in parks as to the area above it, the voltage for those wires, et cetera. How would that impact our usage of it? I don't know.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions for our Corporation Counsel? Thank you, sir. Any other discussion? The motion is to adopt as amended. Seeing no further discussion, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Supervisors Alexander,
No.
Belinsky,
Could have just done that.
Aye.
Capriolo,
Aye.
Cox Jones,
Aye.
Ekblad,
Aye.
Gomez Tom. Johnson Jr.,
Aye.
Logston,
Aye.
Martin,
Aye.
Martinez,
Aye.
O'Connor,
Aye.
Rolland, Shea,
Aye.
Taylor,
Aye.
Vincent,
Aye.
Wasserman. Madam Chairwoman,
Aye. 16 ayes, 1 no, 1 excused. The item is adopted. I lost my agenda. Yeah, 50, 51, 52. Okay, Mr. Clerk. Next order of business. Parks. Oh, wait, yeah. Yeah, we did the balance, I think, correct?
that's correct, Madam Chairwoman. I had a circle for different reasons, so I apologize. That's on me. The next order of business will be Committee on Transportation.
Okay. All right, we are on, we have none because 53 is moot.
Oh.
So,
That's strike two for me. The next order of business, Chairwoman, will be Committee on Economic and Community, on Community, Environment, and Economic Development.
thank you, Mr. Deputy Clerk, you're doing a great job. You're just jumping right in there. Yeah. All right, so we are on the report of SEED, beginning on page 35. There's just one item, 54, so we'll go ahead and read that in. Mr. Clerk, item 54, please.
Item 54, file number 26419, a resolution requesting annual reporting from We Energies to support Milwaukee County's climate infrastructure and energy planning.
All right, any discussion on item 54? Okay, seeing none, Mr. Clerk, we'll go ahead and call the roll.
Questions adoption of item 54. Supervisors Alexander,
Aye.
Belinsky,
Aye.
Capriolo,
Aye.
Cox Jones,
Aye.
Ekblad,
Aye.
Gomez Tom,
Aye.
Johnson Jr.,
Aye.
Logston,
Aye.
Martin, Martinez, O'Connor, Rolland,
Aye.
Shea,
Aye.
Taylor,
Aye.
Vincent,
Aye.
Wasserman. Madam Chairwoman,
Aye. 17 ayes, 0 noes, 1 excused. The balance is adopted. And Mr. Clerk, we did dispense of the Committee on IGR report. And we did not, I realize now, appropriately move the board citations. Oh, no, I think we did that as a presentation, so we'll go ahead and take up county board citations.
Madam Chairwoman, the next order of business is County Board Citations and Certificates.
All right, which is on page 42 of the digest, is file number 26-5. Are there any requests for corrections or additions to citations and certificates? Seeing none. Going once, going twice. All right. First Vice Chair Shea moves this listing be adopted. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone opposed? Say no. All right. The listing of citations is adopted. Mr. Clerk.
Madam Chairwoman, since there are no resolutions and ordinances presented under suspension of the rules, the next order of business is files not referred to standing committees.
Okay. Which is on page 42 of the digest. That's file number 26-6. There are no files listed. All those in favor of receiving and placing on file, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Okay, the listing of files not referred is received and placed on file.
Madam Chairwoman, next order of business is announcements and remarks under special privilege.
All right. Are there any announcements or remarks under special privilege? I see Martinez, Vincent, and O'Connor to start us off. You have the floor, Supervisor Martinez.
I just want to say happy birthday to my fellow Southside elected, Caroline Gomez-Tom. Happy birthday. There's cake from a bakery in my district, Tres Leches, which is her favorite.
Yum.
So it's go get yourself a piece of cake.
Good, good. Thank you. Thanks for bringing the cake. Supervisor O'Connor?
Thank you, Chairwoman. You might have noticed this ribbon that is adorning my desk today, and it's because immediately prior to our board meeting, I was privileged to attend a ribbon cutting of the first ever affordable housing project in Whitefish Bay. Wow. Thank you. So I was really thrilled to be able to attend because prior to my election on the board, it was one of the things that I had worked on. So I knew the name Jim Matthey even before I came to the board officially because I was advocating for this to be built in our community. In my remarks at the ribbon cutting, I acknowledged that it was not without its impediments along the way. So it really opened up a whole lot of history, and I'm really encouraging people to use this as a starting point to really look at the county as a whole, affordability in all of our regions, the exclusionary practices of the past that still carry on into the present. So it's a gorgeous building. They've used wonderful finishes. It looks really fantastic. I invite you all to take a look. It's at the corner of Santa Monica and Hampton, and they will be receiving their first residents who will be moving in this weekend.
Supervisor Martinez, did you have something? Okay. Supervisor Vincent?
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I want to first of all thank all of you, my colleagues on the board, for wearing your green pins today. That does really mean a lot to me, more than you imagine. I will also say there was no county taxpayer dollars that went into those pins. Those came directly from me. And if anyone still needs one, I've got a few left here. But thank you, first of all, for that. On a really exciting note, she's not standing up yet to say it, and I don't know if she's gonna, but Supervisor Capriolo is gonna be flying on the honor flight as a guardian for a female veteran, Anna, I believe. And she is going to be doing that this Saturday. I did send a message out to all of you, inviting you to join me for that. I do plan to go down there. I also invited the Youth Commission. I've heard from one supervisor that can make it so far, a couple that cannot. But if you could please let me know if you could join us. It'll be from 7:30 until about 9:30, 10. It'd be awesome to see her come back in that moment of glory. She's the one, Supervisor Capriolo is the one that has always arranged us for these honor flights in the past, and I think it would be very special for us to welcome her back for something she's passionate about. So I welcome you to that. There will be parking. I need to know in advance because we can get some vouchers for the parking as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Supervisor Capriolo?
Thank you very much, Supervisor Vincent, for saying that. This is a really special honor flight. There are 8 women on this flight. And for anyone who has been there for the 4 flights that we've welcomed back in the last 2 years, I think there's been 2 women, maybe. I know for sure 1, but maybe there was a second, I'm not sure. So anyway, it's pretty special. There's only 1 flight going on Saturday, so hopefully we land at 8. We're in that parade by 8:30, and yeah, everyone's out by 9:30. So anyone who can come, I appreciate it. Make signs for Anne. She is new to the community. She moved originally to Franklin, and now she's in Greenfield, and she doesn't have a lot of support here. So if you can come, make a sign saying "Welcome home, Anne." Thank you.
Any other remarks? Supervisor Shea, followed by Supervisor Cox-Jones.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to say some words I would have liked to have said in our April meeting, but I had to leave to go teach, so I will say them now. This is my start of my 5th term as a member of this body. All the previous terms, there have been 4 to 6 new members. This time we've only got 1. 17 members of this body ran for re-election. All 17 were re-elected by landslide numbers. So maybe, just maybe, this body is doing a reasonably good job. So I want to congratulate everyone. Thank you.
Supervisor Cox-Jones.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to piggyback off of the resolution Madam Chair brought to, I believe that was Parks, for the 50th anniversary for the Dr. Martin Luther King Center. And within those 50 years, my mother, Elizabeth Coggs, started King Advisory, Inc., where my family has volunteered for 30 plus years with the Back to School Festival. So I wanted to make sure just to make that announcement, to make sure that you all come on June 6th at the Dr. Martin Luther King Center, and to give my mama a big shout out for continuing the work where she saw that a gap needed to be bridged. And I yield back. Thank you.
Thank you. Yep, you beat me to it, Supervisor Cox-Jones. So we did want to make sure you had on your calendar 50 years. The resolution, we're declaring June 6th MLK Community Center Day. It's a really big deal. And then while I still have the floor to piggyback off of Supervisor Shea, I just want to congratulate you all and thank you all on an amazing start to the 26-28 term, especially our chairs. It's no easy feat to coordinate calendars and get everything scheduled. And it really does feel like a well-oiled machine. So thank you for all the work you've put in this past cycle. Today's meeting, I think, went very, very well today. So thank you all so much. I just saw a hand, Supervisor Martin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I wanted to say thank you to those who in the community and colleagues who came to the American Legion Post 490 on Saturday for their annual breakfast. I walk in, I'm greeting constituents, and then lo and behold, I see Supervisor Cox-Jones serving up breakfast, as well as Supervisor Emeritus, I just made up that title, Elizabeth Cox-Jones. She was also serving breakfast, and that is always a wonderful, wonderful event. If you know the R&B, the Staple Singers, you can imagine Mr. Leon Staples and his family putting on this event every year and having great music. And I know Juan Martinez would appreciate the DJ who spins some great R&B on these occasions. But what I really rose to say is thank you to all of my colleagues who voted for the appropriation of the $100,000 so that we can move forward with looking for a temporary place for those McGovern Park Senior Center participants, as well as looking out for a permanent solution for that. I truly want to say thank you and I appreciate you. Have a blessed day.
Thank you.
Any other remarks? Under special privilege? Nothing? Okay. Mr. Clerk? Oh, actually, this is me. We're on adjournment. So if I can ask our first Vice Chair, Shea, To move?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move adjournment to Thursday, June 25th, 2026 at noon for the next meeting of the Milwaukee County Board of Supervisors.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say no. Meeting is adjourned.